Hello, Herkimer County. This is Michelle Hummel coming at you, saying Happy New Year. And thank you for joining us today. We have Dave Warner with us.
Hello, how you doing?
He's our producer, and
I'm
he's
somewhere back here. Oh,
yeah.
Still not up to executive producer
Well,
now.
we got to start over. It's New
Okay.
Year, right? So
I start at the bottom. I see how this works.
we all work our way up. Yeah.
Okay,
But
man.
Dave's here to keep me kind of on the straight and
I
narrow
hope so.
ish. But
Ish.
as you know, folks, we're here to talk to local people about local stories. And today we have Mayor John Stevens of the Village of Ilion. Thanks for joining us, John.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, there are so many good things happening in Ilion, in my estimation.
Yes.
The fact that you just received a $2 million grant
Yep.
for the Duofold site, I really want to dig into that. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah. We applied for a Restore New York grant with a lot of assistance from the IDA. John Pizik and his staff over there have been absolutely phenomenal in assisting us with this complex, as I refer to it as, site. We applied for that. We were successful. We also have some other irons in the fire, and hopefully we'll come out on the right side of those as well. But the $2 million Restore New York grant gives the ability for an interested developer or architect the ability to come in and utilize those funds right away to whether it's to stabilize any structures that they feel might need that happen, but it's readily available to them. So that's a big hit because that will show that we are definitely interested in moving this project along with a developer.
So long overdue. I'm glad to see it. Yeah. So just to let people know who are listening and may not be familiar with the Duofold site, it's been around since 1908. And it's been dormant for 25 years, 1998.
Yeah, I believe 98 was the last year it was utilized for anything.
Sickens me a little bit that was already 25 years ago, but
yeah, now that you think about it, yeah.
The fact that you remember it means you're a little over 25, right?
Scary.
Just a bit.
Scary.
Yeah. So getting back to the Restore New York grant, I'm sorry, I can't speak. And by the way, we're live for the first time ever today. So
nice.
Yeah, I want to thank you
I'm
for
your
that.
guinea pig.
So surprise.
Cool. Hey, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
No editing, Dave.
No,
no editing.
none at all. So
No.
I'm
You got a delay
there.
button there, I hope.
No, I don't.
Okay. All
I
right.
always said what you see is what you get with me.
Well.
So here we go. So going back to the Duofold property, it's been home to many things throughout the years. The Library Bureau, the
Sperry Univac, Remington Rand,
Mhm.
Duofold itself, the typewriter. At one time, it was the start of Herkimer County Community College was out of there at one
back
point.
in the 60s.
Yeah, so
Really? I didn't know that.
1966, I believe. So yeah, it's been the host of many
A lot of life.
different lifestyles and life changes, and hopefully this is the last one.
So, well, I want to ask you a question about contamination.
Mhm.
So I know that recently there was a grant that Senator Schumer came to town and
Yes.
toured the property.
Yep.
And that was a bipartisan initiative.
Yes.
And was that grant for additional cleanup?
They've done two different environmental studies, a phase 1 and a phase 2. I believe part of his funding was for one of those or the other, and I can't remember offhand. That would be a IDA.
Absolutely.
John would be able to give you a better rundown on that part.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah. But yes, there has been a phase 1 and a phase 2. There was speculation, rumor over the years of all kinds of bad stuff going on down there, bad contamination. Bottom line is there really isn't.
Good.
There really isn't. There's some areas that they consider hot spots. And the remediation for those might just be blacktopping. There's no, it's not seeping into the groundwater. It can't get in our water system because we have our own closed water system, so it can't leak into a pipe,
Right.
even if it were to go down that road. But there's been no spread to across the streets or anything like that. It's all contained. And from what I can understand, it's contained on the east end of the property where the machine shop used to be, which is the side towards Central Ave. As you're looking at the facility, it'd be your left. And if you go back in, there's still the old wooden floors are still all out there. And, kids used to start them on fire and we'd go down there and put the fire out and all that. But, with
years.
that, yeah, exactly. and with that being a machine shop, that makes sense. Back in those days, they would just, dump a barrel of oil or dump a barrel of whatever, on the ground. But, it's not there's no 3-headed squirrels or 4-headed dogs running around down there or anything like that.
But you hear those rumors about every property.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And especially in this area with the old, the tanneries and the old style manufacturing, textile mills and stuff like that. Absolutely. You're going to hear that because that's just the way operations were back then.
And for those listeners digging back into their memory bank here, back in 2010, there was a study called the Ilion project that was spearheaded by a local community member.
Yep.
And it was found that there was concern about what was underground. And as you're saying, those rumors were dispelled.
Yeah.
So,
there really isn't a huge concern for that. And I was the mayor when that transpired with Carrie. Yeah. And, I don't have any issue with the community members stepping up to hold accountable those things. If there's a higher rate of any child illness or anything in our area, then absolutely let's look into it. As a cancer survivor myself, I want to know why or how I got it.
Sure.
If that's even feasible. I mean, I know mine was job related, but that's the risk you take sometimes. But for kids, absolutely, if there's a higher rate, then let's find out why. There really wasn't much that came out of that. As far as, like I said, the contamination here is very minimal, very minute, and we're ready to roll with it.
That's fantastic.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, actually, I really want to show folks what this property is. So if you go on the website, the Ilion
Village of Ilion. IlionNY.com.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't.
That's okay.
Again, we're
There's
live.
two N's. ILIONNY.com.
So if you go on there, you can actually access certain maps. We'll talk about the comp plan that's going to happen in a few minutes, but I was able to access a few things. So when you take a look at this property, right there, we're looking at, Dave, it's the assets. Ilion assets. Okay, so I want folks to take a look at exactly where the Duofold property is on this. It's down close to the water. You've got some intersections there. The marina's just a walk away. And Dave, if you would, please pull up the traffic flow.
Because you're also close to 5 and 5S.
So folks, just take a look and keep your eye on where that Duofold property is. That is the most traffic flow we have by far in the entire village.
Yes.
I mean, exponentially. So this is a really good place.
Yeah, it's very marketable.
Absolutely.
Yes.
To have an investor come in, and there's so much opportunity here.
Right. And with our low-cost utilities as well.
Yeah, it's almost like the beach nut.
Yeah,
location.
Very close.
I mean, very marketable.
Yeah,
municipal
2
power.
miles from the thruway, municipal power, municipal water. Paid police, fire, and EMS, DPW. All our, it's very marketable in my opinion, and apparently it's very marketable in others' opinions as well because we've had interest. So, hopefully we can follow up and capitalize on that interest here in the next few weeks.
We will. And I want to remind folks from the Utica area that thruway runs, or not the thruway, but 5S runs both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a moat.
No. And
it is when you get into Utica.
Well, it could be, yeah. Well, you get off 5S right there and you go around behind Aldi's and you're right at the Duofold property.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Literally 12 minutes from the city.
I didn't even realize how easy it was to get to until I had to photograph it.
Yeah.
So
it's very simple. To your point, Michelle, it's a great spot. It will increase the value of the village and the homes around there when this is completed and done. And I look forward to it. I really do. It's going to be a multi-use complex. To put some rumors to rest, it will have housing, it will have retail, it will have commercial. But the housing will be, some of them will be loft style apartments. There will be townhouses built there. That's the tentative projection for that complex.
So what demographic are you targeting for those?
Will there be Section 8? That's the question.
No. Yeah. And that has been
I
the
asked
question.
it nicely.
You're
did.
nicer
You
than
did.
I am.
You did.
I'm right to the point.
No,
Come on,
no,
Dave.
that was heavily discussed in our meetings with the consultant and the engineers, and absolutely not. It'll be we want to attract the people from the Wolf Speeds and the Microns and those things that are where
young
they might
families to grow
not
the community.
Exactly. They might not want to live in Utica or the surrounding area. Not there's anything wrong with that. Please don't take it that way. Anybody that's listening.
Disclaimer.
Exactly. But
don't call us about it.
Exactly. But I want those folks here as well. You know, I want them to come to Ilion. I want them to spend their money here.
Well, you're a bedroom community.
Exactly.
And you've got all these different things to offer than being maybe in Utica or whatever. So,
and with the, like I said, with the tentative plans and the tentative schedule here, I believe we can accomplish that. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, and Dave, if you would do me a favor and pull up the map on vacant lots.
Vacant parcels.
Here
we go.
Vacant parcels. So I just wanted to point this out because you're going to notice that there are quite a few vacant parcels down near that area and all around the village. That's not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion, anyway.
So are all the colors the vacant ones? Like yellow is residential.
Yeah, because
green is agricultural.
That's just the opportunity. Right. When this thing hits, those are going to be hot spots. Yep. It's actually, Ilion is in such a good position right now.
Yes.
I wanted to point that out.
It's exciting. It really is.
I'm thrilled if you can't tell.
Exactly. You know, and as lifelong residents of that village, you know, this is what you strive for. You know, this is why I got back into the village political world, I guess. You know, I've lived there my entire life. I love the village. It's what I like to do. And it's what I want to see moving forward. You know, I want my grandkids, my kids are a little too old to worry about now at this point, but you know, my granddaughter's 3. I want her to be able to grow up around here and to have things to do. So that's what we're shooting for.
All good
stuff. I love it. So I want to talk a little bit more about Restore New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you folks that don't know, Restore New York is such an important grant. New York State has set this money aside, and the purpose of it is really to give smaller townships, villages, an opportunity to boast forward.
Yes.
And it's almost like a renaissance, if you will. And I think that this particular property is one of the first that is actually going to be restored. That $2 million is coming, and it's immediately. And I think we're one of the first areas on the map.
We are.
So that's important to note for everybody. We're going to be the leader.
You know, yes, that's a great point, Michelle.
I say we. I'm sorry.
No, you're included in that. We absolutely.
I live in Ilion, folks.
No, that's you know, no, I like that we because it is not just one or two people. It is us. You know, it's a collective effort. You know, and $2 million seems like, well, that's a big chunk of change. Well, it is, but when you're looking at a 40, 50, maybe $60 million investment in your community, that's a very small part, but it's the part we might need to get over the hump to get moving.
Well, it's what gets you started.
Absolutely.
Because when people see that somebody has put money in particular the state has said, we're going to give you $2 million, then it makes the developers feel a lot more confident about their investment.
Correct.
And that's the value of it.
Yes. And that, you know, and that goes on top of, Dave, like I said, the phase 1, the phase 2 studies were paid for through grants.
Right.
You know, the historic tax credits that these people are looking for. This money, the restore money, there's some other stuff coming down the road here. It just continues to show that, you know, everybody has a vested interest in this and wants it to move forward. I'm not good at the political game. I really don't care what side of the table you sit on, as long as we can do things together and do the right thing, then I have no problem with it. You're a Democrat, Republican, communist. I don't care about that stuff. I truly don't. You know, I'm a Republican because I worked for the county, and that's the way it used to be. I've just never changed. I don't have an issue working with anybody as long as we're working for the same common goal. Then that's what's important.
All swimming in the same direction.
Exactly.
Yep.
So there is a bit of a match here, though, correct? I believe it's 90-10. So
no, I believe Restore is 100%.
Restore is 100%.
All right, that's something that I had heard, so I just wanted to clarify that. I figure if I'm hearing it, somebody out there is probably hearing
Restore.
It too.
There might be some other projects that some other programs that we've applied for that might be, but
not this particular one.
No, this one's all good. It's all us.
That's great. So
we're all them.
Can you tell us, what do we know about any developers that are coming forward and showing interest? I don't have any.
I know that I got questioned quite hard when the Restore grant broke in the media. You know, it said that, you know, there's going to be 80 residential 80 this, 80 that, and they named a developer. They might have got that information. The media goes to the state. I'm sure that, you know, they might have got some, but I've had nothing come across my desk to anybody other than the fact that Mr. Pizik has said he has interested parties. He's not named a name or any names, you know, and
he's good like that.
He's very good like
that.
Exactly. He does not want to put things out before time is due.
That's true. He doesn't.
You know, so, and that's a good thing. in one way. And then in the other, I've been on the other side of things, like with Tractor Supply and stuff like that, where they made some code name and it was a big secret. And I guess that's because of the way they do things in the big business world. I don't know if they worry about espionage or whatever. I don't know. But until the very last second, they don't tell you who you are. I mean, you meet these folks from these big companies and they say, hi, I'm John Stevens. Hi, I'm Bill. Bill what? You don't need to know that, because then you can't Google them, so then you don't know where they're coming from. And it's like, oh, okay.
No, they just paid a marketing agency a huge amount of money to come up with their code name.
Yeah, I'm
that's
Bill.
when you pay attention to, that's a
Bill
nice,
what? Yeah.
That's a nice suit he's wearing.
All you need to know is Bill. Yeah. So, but no, to your point, Michelle, we don't, I have no names. I've heard people on the street say names, but I'm not going to comment on something that I have no knowledge of. So nothing has come across my desk other than the fact that Mr. Pizik says there are interested people.
Well, that alone is information to share. So.
Yeah. And that alone excites me.
Yeah.
It does to have somebody that's said, hey, look, this really, really interests us. And I know they've been there to look at it. I know John has taken them there to look at it. He'll call me and say, hey, we're going to be there. Can you make it? If I can, I can. If I don't, I don't. But I don't ask too many questions. I just kind of listen.
You're afraid that Bill is
I'm afraid Bill's going to say, hey, I'm
Bill.
Bill. Bill what? Don't worry about it. We'll
He
tell
heard
you
what
when
you
we
said.
need to, So, and that's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
That's how they apparently do things in the big business world. And for whatever reason, that's how they operate. And I have no issues with that as long as they start putting a shovel in the ground.
Right. Oh, and that's important for folks to realize too, is that $2 million to you and me, it seems like a lot of money to start a project, but quite frankly, you may put $2 million into this project. However, you might not really see a difference from the naked eye.
Correct. That that could be with the current buildings. I'm pointing at the screen.
Do you want me to put something up there?
Well, the original picture, that one right there. Yeah,
that one right there.
That might look. You go by that now. That's a good picture of what Duofold looks like. Currently some of the roof structure has come in on some of these buildings, along with the flooring. What we found through the engineering studies is that has no bearing on the structural integrity of the brick walls. Yeah. Basically, it's a building within a building. So when the roofs come down and the floors come down, these developers, they go, we'll just go in there and clean that up and we'll redo it the way we want to do it, because the 4 outside walls are going nowhere.
Well, I can tell you in the past, they weren't very good when it came to leveling floors and things like that. So these older buildings,
absolutely
don't meet today's codes.
Well, and all the years you rolled heavy equipment or forklifts over. I mean, the floors in there are probably 14 inches thick.
Good Lord.
I laugh because my daughter, before she had a family, was a volunteer fireman. Oh, she's going to slap me for that one. Firefighter. And when the kids tried to start a fire in there, she got to go inside and work in that. And she came out and I looked at her and I says, what are you doing? She says, she had to cut a hole in that floor. She says, it's thicker than I am tall. And I went up there and I looked, and they're like 2x12s on end. And then there's times when there might be 2 of them stacked on top. So they were built to hold the machinery and the loads of working in there and stuff like that. So, I don't know a plan for if they would refurbish those or if they would just take them out and put new in. I don't know. And it's not
that wood is actually worth a lot these days.
And Remington is the same way.
Yeah.
Remington is the same way. They're very, very heavy duty, on end 2x12s, which back in that day were a true 2x12.
Yeah.
It's 2 inches thick and 12 inches high. So, but, it's, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, it has good bones. As
yes,
they say.
That's as they say. Yes, it does.
You drive by these buildings and you think, that needs to come down. It needs to be tore down. I know Herkimer just received a BOA grant, and that's to do a study on all of these buildings to see, even if they're condemned, they could still be salvageable. So it's important to know.
Yep. And that was my first thought when back in 2010, when this started, we had an interested developer for a price chopper, which obviously came here instead. But he was going to tear the buildings down. He wanted to level it and start from scratch. And, funding didn't work out. And the story goes on and on. But, when this started this time, they said, no, you don't want to tear those down. No, we want those. And that started right when John Pizik went to California and put on a presentation and won that $50,000. That first $50,000 we got. The developers out there were like, no, don't tear those down. We want those. And I was like, well, okay, well, what do I know?
No, they're really valuable these days. Yeah.
If I have $50 in my pocket, most times I'm lucky. You're
if I have $50 in my pocket, it's gone by the end of the day.
Well, if I have it, that means my wife hasn't found it on the dresser. So,
oh, geez. Oh my God. Too much.
So,
let's talk a little bit, because this is a Restore New York thing. And I just mentioned Herkimer, and Main Street is always a big topic.
Yes.
Ilion, as I always say, we don't really have a we
have
a street named Main, but a Main Street, with years
used
ago,
to be Central Ave.
Yes.
That's what Central Ave was, our business district.
Exactly. But, we, during urban renewal, they kind of turned it into what they call a town center or a village center, because you could park at Faze Mall and walk and do all your business, your banking. You could stop and buy an outfit. You could do, I guess men don't call them outfits, but
clothes. You could buy clothes.
We don't come up with those extra names like women do.
Buy a pair of jeans and socks, I guess.
But you could do all those things.
Yeah.
So Central Ave is still somewhat of a hub. Do you see that changing a little bit if this Duofold property does take off?
Yes.
Are we moving Main Street?
Yes. And that'll segue into your comp plan discussion that you wanted to have. So I like what you did there. Yes. There is
drum roll for that?
No, she's good.
Right.
Well, she might. I don't. She might want it.
Just some applause.
I'm good.
Oh, applause.
I'm only kidding.
I'm with that. There's a group of residents and local citizens and business owners that have formed a group that's doing the comprehensive plan. Actually, a lot of it has to do with the waterfront revitalization for the marina, which extends up Central Ave. Central Ave, for those of you that aren't familiar with the village, that's when you come across the canal on the bridge. That's Central Ave. That's not Main Street.
Right.
People that aren't familiar think, I'm on Main Street in Ilion. And
it feels like Main Street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where Aldi's is and Sorrento's and Fast Track and stuff like that. I don't know if that's shameless plugs allowed or not, but I didn't.
Hey, there are no rules on this.
Okay, perfect. So that's Central Ave, and yes, that's going to be a vital part of renovation once this. They should work in tandem, and that's the folks that are on that board or that group of people. That was done way before I took office. And they've had a couple successful events, and through Barton and the Judas, Chris Lawton is a local kid. He's born and raised in Mohawk, who now is one of the vice presidents at B&L Engineering. Lives in the Tully area, but he's always here. So he wants to see our area grow just as well as we do. So he's been a pretty good driving force behind that. And he's got a very good group of people together that are from differing business backgrounds and just residents. That have expertise in construction or this very diverse group of people that are on this comprehensive plan board. And I look forward to hearing from them all the time, because I just want to see where they're going and what we're doing. So with Duofold, the comp group, and the village, I think we have three very good entities that are looking to all meet the same end goal. And that's to make our village, I don't want to say vibrant again, but that might be the way to put it.
Sure.
Because let's face it, there's times when there's not a lot of things to do in Ilion. The thing I've heard for the last 20 years is, why don't we have a grocery store? Well, we have Aldi's, but people want, they want Great American back. They want Big M back. They want, P&C back. They want things like that, because we used to have 5 or 6 grocery stores in the village.
Yeah.
Now we don't really currently have one. Where people like to go to Aldi's, but they want to go to Hannaford's or Walmart's or things like that, because they want to go in and they want to buy their actual groceries. And I don't disagree with them. My mom, when I first took over as mayor in 2010, told me, you need to bring old Ilion back. And I was like, what are you talking about? She says, urban renewal ruined this village. And I was like, well, Mom, I can't build 6-story buildings anymore. That just doesn't work.
Urban renewal destroyed a lot of places.
Absolutely.
We would be doing a blight study, though. Just from someone from, I want to say a younger generation, but not really, but we'd be doing a blight study today.
I don't disagree.
So I'm thankful for urban renewal.
Yes.
As a resident.
Has the the mall, as we call it, reinvented itself time and time again.
It's full.
Absolutely. But it's full right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I got scared when I heard that Slocum was going to purchase that, and then they did. And then when the HARC said they were going to take it, I was like, oh boy, there goes a lot of tax revenue, but it's only non-tax for what they're using it for. Everybody else is paying their fair share. So,
yes,
you know, the village did lose a little bit, but, you know, I believe that, progress warrants that, I guess is the best way to put it. So, but
so the comp plan, if I can ask you a little bit more about this, I know that there was a post on Facebook. My question to you is, how can residents provide input? How are you keeping folks informed?
If you go to the village website, ilionny.com again, there is a section on there for the comp plan. And it allows you to click a link for input. They just did a
there's an actual website for
I
it.
believe
Ilion,
so
I'm running that across the bottom.
Okay.
Area.
So
right.
if you folks want to take a look after this podcast, of course.
Yes. Stay with us for now. We'll be back later.
It's really got a lot of great information
and
on
you can make comments on that. And residents were sent through email blasts and social media. Residents were sent materials to make comments. You know, what do you want to see? What don't you want to see? There was a public meeting held where they went through and they had like 18 different stations, and the people that showed up rated them on how they wanted them. And the number one issue was codes enforcement.
Right.
Were we shocked? No, we weren't shocked. But they took the top 5, and offhand, I can't remember the other 4. I'm sorry. I just knew that codes was going to be an issue. But 2 or 3 of the top 5 were somewhat surprising to me. And if I'd have thought about it, I'd have brought them, and I didn't.
You didn't know I was going to ask.
No, I didn't know, but I should have, you know, I should have saw that coming. But the number one things that people want to see change in the village is heavy codes enforcement. We have made the change to get on board with that. You know, we have a full-time codes enforcer now in the village who only handles codes. You know, we made a change there from the previous administrations where the codes officer was also handling maintenance at the municipal building. Well, I can't have him out enforcing codes if he's got to worry about mowing the lawn at the village or taking the garbage out in the building. You know, we have since turned that over to the DPW, handles the sidewalks and the mowing and the weed eating. And we hired a private contractor to clean the building at a cost savings to the village.
I'd heard some places would use the fire chief as codes as well.
And that was done previously in the village. Okay. And with how busy our fire department is, it was just too much. That the fire chief was spending more hours a day worrying about tall grass and dogs doing their business on somebody else's lawn than he was about running the firehouse.
Okay.
And it just didn't work. Now, does that mean in the future we will have the fire chief assist the codes officer? No, it doesn't mean that probably will happen. But it will not be the fire chief's ultimate day job to run a codes department.
Okay.
You know, we have a building inspection plan that we're going to work over the winter, which is now, you know, so that our multifamily dwellings, by law, you have to inspect those, and they have to pay a fee to have those inspected. So if you own a four unit apartment building, you know, we're going to come in once a year with the fire department and the fire chief and the codes enforcement. We're going to make sure your smoke detectors are there, and you're meeting your egress and your exit and your entry points are unblocked, and they'll go through and they'll do a whole inspection, and you know, the landlord will have to pay whatever the fee is, and it's done in most places.
Is that uniform across
Yes.
New York State?
Yes.
It's supposed to be that way?
Yes. And it comes, speaking of uniform, it comes right out of the uniform code of New York State.
I use that word for you. Just
I think
to give
you
you
did.
A hook.
You gave me a push there, and that's a good thing. So yeah, those are the things we're working on. But our codes enforcer, he works 6 hours a day. During the winter, he works from 7 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, 5 days a week. In the summer, we'll change him over to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He'll work 10 to 4, and then Tuesday, Thursday, he'll work 7 to 1, so that there's so that he can be there if people are getting out of work and need to get home. But the winter is slower. There's no building permits per se and stuff like that. So he can come in the morning and make sure the heat's on for the ladies in the office and make sure everything's up and running there. And, he handles his code stuff till 1 o'clock, and that's that. But
we're in fake spring right now. So
we are. Yeah. I went in there this morning and I said, woof, it's a little warm, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Anything else that you want to tell us about Ilion? Anything we don't know that we should know?
Yeah, Dave,
Yeah, we could do a commercial break.
You want to do a break?
You know what? Yeah, all right.
I see Dave rolling his hand. Going,
Okay.
I know what that means. I've been doing this a while.
I missed that cue about 10, 15 minutes ago, I think. So, folks, we'll be back in about 1 minute.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, Herkimer County. We're back with Mayor John Stevens of Ilion. And I think this is the point where John wants to share some good information with us.
Well, I know we talked about Duofold, and I don't know, Dave, if I can get a decent shot of this, but.
Well, we can kind of see it. Yeah.
Kind of see it. That's
except for twirling it.
I'm trying to get it straight. I don't know which way to turn it.
So what does that show us?
That shows us the tentative plan. There's I know I got to get closer to this because I was forgetting about that. They have like I said, it's a multi-use project. So when you go back and look at this, if you go back to look at this, the purple colors are industrial, mixed use, commercial, town housing type stuff. In the current buildings that are here or that are there, they would probably put the loft apartment style things in the upper floors. The lower floors would be commercial or retail, doctor's offices or to the ladies, an outfit shop.
Why, I thank you for that. How about some shoes? I would really like
shop,
some shoes.
Yeah, there you go.
Geez, don't say shoes. It'll be another hour on this show.
They tentatively have a brew pub in the old boiler building there.
That'd
That's
be
got the
great.
silo. I was listening to him talk about, we can put floors in the silo for seating, and it would be really cool. And I was like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So they've got a very good site plan listed here.
Is that online on the?
Yeah, it should be. It should
Okay.
be. It should be in that.
On that
group
URL.
of- Yes, the URL there. Yeah, that link.
Mhm.
As far as what's going on in the village, we've been very, very busy. I know that when we took office, when the new board took office, and there was 3 new and 2 carryovers, we all sat and discussed, where do we want to go? Well, we had to hire an attorney, which we did. We took a little heat because we brought Hage and Hage back, which was the village attorney in my first term, and everybody was worried about the cost. And look, I would invite anybody to come and sit with me for 2 or 3 days during the week and see exactly how busy we are in the village. I have the ability to be there because I'm retired. But I spend a minimum of 7 hours a day in the office, Monday through Friday. And I go in on weekends because it's quiet. The phone's not ringing. People aren't banging on the door. There's a lot of things happening in the village, and there's a lot of day-to-day stuff that people just don't understand. So when you bring on an attorney like Hage and Hage, you get an entire firm, not just one person. So we made that decision. We went back with them. It's been a great business relationship, and they've kept us in the loop on things. We filled all of our active commissions. So our rec commission, our light, the MUB board is no longer a valid commission right now. We've kind of DC'd that for the time being, because what we found with that group was that I was the former chairman of, was by the time we get them together, the projects that they're doing are moving so fast that it's already gone by them.
Right. I was on that board about 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
When
So,
it first started.
it was,
When you were just a babe,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I was young.
young teenage years. Yeah. But all of our commissions are currently full. So we're moving forward with that. The sewer project was completed under That was mostly done under the previous administration, but we wrapped things up. We handled some citations from the DEC on our reservoirs that we got that all straightened out. We just approved as we all know, our water is a big issue. We are currently in the process of starting the water main replacement projects. We'll obviously have a little better handle on that I can't say when the weather gets warmer because it's already warm, but they don't do much during now. But they are up in Russell Park doing the water tank. This village board approved the purchase of new up-to-date water meters, which are very, very efficient, and it allows us to drive by read. When I say that, that means that an employee will be in a pickup truck with a computer. He'll drive the village, and it'll all download as he's driving by your house. He or she, whoever it is, never has to get out of your house, out of their truck. And a couple of the villages around us have them. It's really kind of cool, and it's really kind of modern
and safer for all involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And it cuts down, instead of having to have 2 or 3 weeks to read the entire village, it takes 2 to 3 hours. That's huge difference.
Really nice.
And then you can detect water breaks and things like that.
Yes, and it to your point, Dave, it'll tell you like if my toilet's running.
Yeah,
it'll pop up and say, "Why are you using so much water versus what you used to use?" It'll throw an alert to the computer.
Yep.
Or if there's a break in your lateral, or if there's a water main break, instead of waiting 4 or 5 days like we just had to do yesterday, for it to bubble up out of the ground, and by then you've got all the damage in the ground and everything's soaking wet, and it'll detect that quickly.
Did you have a large number of homes that where you had broken meters and you couldn't find parts and whatever? So,
that's starting to happen more and more because our meters are so they're older, and they're less efficient. So people are going to say my water bill went up. No, your water bill didn't go up. Your meter is more efficient, so now it's actually billing you for what you're using.
Well, you're recovering lost revenue for the village.
Where you might have only been getting billed for 85% of your water, now it might be 98% of your water. So that's why your bill went up.
Right.
We've purchased some new equipment for our departments, especially our water department, which is obviously they're just running crazy. And again, the codes enforcer issue I discussed. We're currently in the process, the buyout properties from FEMA from the flooding, where they bought your home and they demolished the home and left a vacant lot. Part of the, I guess the recuperation of that is that FEMA allows you to lease that property to someone.
Interesting.
So what we're in the process now of figuring out a plan where if the neighbor wants to lease that, they can, and they can have a yard if they don't have one. They can't build anything on it, but it takes away from the village having to maintain that and mow it. And if, our biggest thing is, what are we going to charge somebody?
Well, it's a revenue source.
It's a revenue source, right? So I think the way we're leaning now, it'll probably be like a building permit. It'll be so much a square foot, so
that's nice though.
Because, and we were trying to think of, this lot might be in half an acre and a lot down the road might be 20 by 20. I can't charge somebody $500 a year for, so if you go square footage,
makes sense.
It makes sense.
So you can make like a camp there, like you had instead of buying a camp somewhere, right?
There's some beautiful areas there.
Yeah. So we're doing that, duplex, the codes fee schedule that I discussed,
you got a long list there.
Yeah. Well, there's
2-pager,
23 or 24 things that we've completed. We're going to have an ice skating rink again if the weather ever cooperates. I've plowed it 3 times, but I haven't put a drop of water on it yet. So we're in the process of getting our replacement plan for our vehicles back in action. We did give our employees a Christmas bonus out of our COVID funds that some people had an issue with, and I don't quite understand why. Each full-time employee that met the criteria, if you were employed during COVID and you were employed when we gave the bonus, you were still with us, received a $1,000 check.
Nice.
So on December 9th, we had the village along with Hage and Barton and the Judas sponsored a Christmas party for the employees. We closed the village offices 2 hours early. Said, come on up, we'll have some food, we'll get together. Santa Claus made an appearance and gave all the employees a $1,000 check.
Santa missed me.
I know he missed me too. And our part-time employees, which I only think was 1 or 2, got $500.
That's still
so,
nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
But people were on on other media outlets saying that that's misuse of funds and that's illegal. And I was like, no, that's what it was for.
Common sense, says that you probably checked with the law.
Well,
to
I
make
did.
Sure that
I
you
did.
could do that.
And it's funny because the criteria for what the village got a little under $800,000. So the criteria for that amount of money is there is no criteria. If you got less than $10 million, the only thing you can't do with that money is balance your budget.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on the other media outlets. I didn't know there were any.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't going to name anybody because I know that. So the village board thought it was a very good idea. We were accused of buying loyalty and all that stuff. It's like, why do I care about that? We're already in office and you're already working, so I don't need to buy anything. But one of the criteria, if you were made over that $10 million and were awarded that, was to help your essential employees. Well, to me, all the village employees were essential. So they were all given the money.
And in many cases, folks don't go work for the village because they're going to get rich.
No, not at all. And when my village treasurer says, that's a great idea. Okay, I did something right today.
Yeah.
So we did that. And I think that was a very, I think that was a great idea. It wasn't done for any type of loyalty or pat on the back. It was something that we thought as a board that the employees deserve for working
Christmas
through it.
Gift.
Yes, we've successfully negotiated a couple of contracts without hiring an attorney to handle that. It was done with village board members and the varying union negotiators. So that's a good thing. The Steel Creek Guide Rail project was completed. That made people feel a lot safer as far as
I thought you were trying to trap me at my home.
No, well, and some people were worried about their kids driving off the parking lot there into the creek. And I went down there and I said, well, I can understand that worry. So we got that done. We're working on our website to make that a little more user friendly. We obviously demolished those 3 homes that were a definite safety issue with the village. And there's probably a few more that we need to take care of. But those were the 3 that I needed to start on right away. So we're moving. We got a lot of stuff going on. And I got another whole page of stuff that's I have 2 whiteboards in my office. One shows to do and one shows done. And they're both about even. So
that's great.
That's good though.
Yeah. I figured if they're even, then we're doing something the right way. That's just our goal, is to continue to make progress, continue to be positive, and continue to try to bring people to not just Ilion, but to the area.
Yes.
Because in my opinion, we're all facing the same issues.
We are. We have to band together.
Yeah.
And I'm an advocate for Herkimer County just in general. And if you ask anybody from outside this county, they'll tell you I'm cheering for it every chance I get.
and that's, I still serve at the legislative level. I keep getting asked, are you going to run for re-election? And I keep telling people I haven't made my mind up yet. I've still got a few weeks to make that decision.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. And my answer is I don't know.
Okay.
I can't.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, I don't know.
What, that he doesn't know anything?
I don't know.
Come on.
I've had discussions with my family.
Well, how much? I mean, what's the strain? Is it time, or you put a lot of time in?
For folks that don't know here, our mayor is also a Herkimer County legislator, which I find very impressive for any one person to hold those. They're both challenging offices.
It's tough.
So I give you credit.
I had no intentions of running for mayor again when I ran for another term in the legislature. I had no intentions of that. Apparently, my temper got the best of me, and I threw my name in the hat, or threw my hat in the ring, or whatever you want to say. And it went from there. Here's the outcome. I'm not sorry I did it. I did it for a reason. It wasn't a personal issue. It was just, I thought that I could do a better job. And that's why I ran. Sort of knowing that doing both was going to be tough. So I did make a commitment to the county for those 2 years. And I said, when I put my name in the ring for the mayors, that I would honor that commitment, and I will. Whether I go another 2 after that, I haven't made up my mind yet. I kind of have an idea with my family what I'm going to do, but there's still still some thinking to do.
What's the deadline for that? When do you have to make up your mind?
I believe petitions start in March.
Okay.
So I've got a few weeks, but not a lot. But to Michelle's point, it's if it was the first time that I was mayor and my kids were still young, I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
I
You're
would
probably working more hours in retirement
than I did working. Yeah. Well, as Dave knows, from having Scott here, when you're in the firehouse, you're there 6-7 days a month.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of time off in between if you don't have 3 other jobs like most of us do, or did. But yeah, it's been a lot. And there are times, people were, saying that it's a conflict. You can't do it. Well, yes, you can. Again, that's one of those things. It's legal. I checked before, I wasn't going to do anything that would jeopardize one or the other, but there have been times where I've had to recuse myself from one side or the other. And that makes it a little bit difficult because, especially at the village level, when there's only 5 of us versus 17 at the county level, if I have to recuse myself from the village side, it makes it a little more demanding on the other 4 to make that decision.
Well, it could be deadlock because
it could be. It could be. Yeah.
No tiebreaker.
No, and as the mayor, that's my job. And
Yeah.
if I have to recuse myself, I can't.
Yeah.
So then the issue dies no matter what. So, but so far so good. It's worked out. It's been a little stressful. I don't have to worry about losing my hair over the stress. So that's not anything I've got to worry about. But I don't sleep well anyway, so that's not an issue. It's just finding the time. The time constraints are tough. Today's been kind of an easy day because we're just coming back from the first of the year. So I only had 3 things on my calendar today. Tomorrow I have 7. So, so that's where we're at. But good things.
Yeah,
a lot of good things happening.
When you're ready to announce, let us know.
I will.
We'd love to have you back.
Okay, anytime. I'll give you a shout. You give me a shout. You need to fill an hour or whatever we're here for. Let me know. I can talk.
And,
I have no issues
with that. I'm right with you there. So
it's only been 46 minutes.
Okay, so we're close. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And everyone, this has been live, and I really like it this way. So we might just do it again. I don't know.
We didn't need the delay button either.
No.
Any questions? Please always reach out to us at the Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce, 315-866-7820.